Last part here is the SNMP and other small things I want to show you in services. So there's a services menu in the web portal, and this allows you to configure HTTPS, SSH, and SNMP. And the date and time, you see here, date and time. So it's a good idea to have NTP running on the servers because, for example, if you're using call detail records, there will be a timestamp on those records. And if you're not synchronized, then you will have a time that is offset with other systems that you may want to work with. The DNS, I mentioned this before. There's a DNS that you control for SIP that is configurable from the web portal. And there's another DNS that is used only for CentOS Linux kernel upgrade. So you can, in TB change IP, you can configure the DNS there with the command TB change IP. You can configure the DNS there, or you can have it configurable from the web interface here. HTTP here, you can choose the port that you want to access the system or change it to HTTPS. ICMP here, there's nothing important. SNMP, I will show you how to configure this. And SSH, you can also change from which port SSH is available, is accessible, and which IP interface, which port and which IP interface. So I'm showing you quickly the HTTPS. So you just have to select this, select the port, and which interface are allowed. So it's a good idea here to change this to something else than any. If you put any, that means you will be able to reach the configuration web portal from any interfaces, but maybe you want to limit that to only the management interface. So you can select it here. If you go in services, did I lose? No, okay. If you go in services and HTTP here, create new HTTP service, and then you can say I want to have only management 0 accessible or just one interface, and just have to click here HTTPS to enable that. Okay, so just one more thing is that when I create this, let's say, yeah, HTTPS access is good. So now I have, you see, I have two. Well, that's not a good idea to put port 80 here. Okay, so here I have now two services. So I can access either the system from management 0 or accessing to management 0 interface on the port 443 using HTTPS, or on any other port using 12358. So normally, once you have configured this, you will test if that access works. And if it works, then you can go ahead and delete the other one. Okay, so that it doesn't appear anymore. Okay. SNMP configuration. So if you click on here, you can select the port 161 is the default port for SNMP. You can add the description here on what is your system, so that when you read with SNMP, you can see that. There's a default trap polling of 1 minute. So internally in the system, we will poll every minute to see if there's something that changed, and we may send the trap to the destination. The trap destination is configured here on the bottom. If you're using SNMP v3, then you will need to create a SNMP user. If you're using SNMP 1 or v2, then you need to make sure you're using a community here so that when someone tries to access the system, it is limited to these communities. Okay. But if you want it to be secure, then you have to use the SNMP v3. And this is an example of configuring SNMP v3. So you need to specify, I think there's 3 modes here of security that you have to choose, and the authentication and the privacy. So you just have to choose the right one that corresponds to the SNMP server that will make some requests to us, which are, we are considered as a SNMP client here, okay? So, and then you can configure SNMP trap destination. So you need to put the IP of the destination where you will send the trap and the port. Of course, the default port for SNMP is 162. Here you can choose the source IP interface for SNMP and the version. Okay, so if you use SNMP v2, you only need to specify the community. But if you specify SNMP v3, then you have to configure all the authentication information to send to the SNMP server. There are MIBs included in the system, so information databases of resources for SNMP. So we use a lot of standard ones like these ones, and also 1213 and 2959 for RTP. But a lot of them do not exist in those, or a lot of information do not exist in those MIBs. So we created our own, which is called the Telco Bridges MIB. This MIB is available on the wiki, and it's also available in the TB-duck packages. Okay, so that is when you want to download a new version from the web. One of our downloads here. So you usually have the TB-duck package like this. And in this documentation package, you have the SNMP MIB. So all of these will be included here, plus the Telco Bridges MIB. And if I show you the Telco Bridges MIB, you see they will have features, what is supported on the SBC, CPU information, CPU percentage usage, disk usage, memory usage, call usage, network access point, so data about calls on the network access points, the call rate. You will have also high availability applications. Let's say if you have a failover, it will be shown here. So you can either read it from the system, or you can get a trap if you have configured traps in the system. So if there's an application failover, it will send that to the SNMP server. So this is SNMPB is a SNMP server example. And to be able to read the Telco Bridges MIB, you can go in modules here and add this MIB file in here. Okay, this tool can also receive traps, so it's interesting to see this. And I just want to show you. It's here. The SNMP B tool will, just because I want to show you what is in this MIB. So you have some standard MIBs which are here. So for example, TCP, UDP, IP, interfaces, these are all standard and they're supported by the system. But then we have the private enterprises, and one is called TEB, which is TechObridge's Enterprise MIB. And these are all the MIBs that we include in there. So like I was saying, NAP calls, protocols, high availability, features, supported features on the system. Okay, so this is shown here. And to add it here, you just need to make sure that TBMIB is included in the loaded MIB modules. Okay, so you will need to do the same thing on your SNMP server. So load this TBMIB. The other ones, they should already have, right? All of them, TCP, IP, UDP, normally all these servers have this. Only the TBMIB is special for us. Other questions on SNMP? Okay. This is an example, right? So when we do a query on system here, you will see the data appearing here. So of course, this tool is not very useful to do statistics and stuff like that, but it's interesting just to see what you will see when you use those SNMP commands. But I've seen very nice integrations with SNMP servers of our SBC, and you can see the statistics of everything that is going on the system. Zabbix, we did integrate with a customer once, Zabbix, and I probably have those templates somewhere in our documentation. So if you want, I would suggest us to send an email to support@techobridges.com asking for the templates, and I will look for that in our folders. Can we import the MIBs into Libre and MS? Well, I think so, right? So normally all these management system have ability to load other modules in the system, okay, in their system. So it should be possible to do that. I just never did it, so I don't know how to do it. But couldn't deep statistics, but now I know I was missing TBMIB, exactly. So normally you should be able to load this TBMIB somewhere in there. You can search for TBMIB also, and the file is here as well. Okay, so if you need it, you can get it here. Oops, I just noticed that I gave you a link here to, not to everyone. Let me just go get the link here. The link is how to retrieve the call trace. So TBMIB link and how to retrieve the call trace. Okay. Yeah, so if you don't have this TBMIB, well, you won't be able to decode the number of calls on the NAPs, number of the application status and stuff like that. And the last one is SSH, and the only thing you can do here is change it to be controlled by Toolpak or by the system. So by default, SSH is not controlled by the application, so you access it separately in the system. But here you can decide to be managed by the SBC, and then you can choose which interface you want to allow here. So, but this, I think this is not used very often. Now with the virtual machines and everything, we can just access with the console. So SSH is let's say less important, but on bare metal, it can still be quite important. Okay, so I went through what I wanted to show you. So if you have other question, now is a good time to ask. If you have other requests, other ideas I did not talk about. I'm trying to cover everything, but maybe I missed some things, or some things maybe you want to have more details on. We still have a bit of time. Like, for example, I didn't talk about lawful interception. So one of the reasons is that there's not that many people who's doing this. And it's well described on the wiki as well, how to set up lawful interception, right? So you can just follow the instructions there. And for some reason, if you cannot make it work, then you can just contact us and we can help you to set it up. But it's pretty detailed, so normally it should be good. Okay, IMS. IMS, I think it doesn't make a lot of difference for us being IMS instead of a SIP trunk. Are they using, do you know if they're using SIP-T instead of SIP? Or you are not sure? Yeah, okay, you are not sure about SIP-T. I'm pretty sure we interface with the IMS SIP trunks. I have never heard anybody that came back and said, well, you can't connect to IMS with SIP. So I think it works. Maybe there is header parameters that we can manipulate that is being used with IMS, but I don't think there's a problem doing that. Well, okay, IMS. Okay, so IMS is we just have to be careful. IMS is a global picture of many interfaces, right? Some of them are SIP, some of them are SIP-T, some of them are H248, for example. So it depends where we are interconnecting. But if you need to interconnect SIP, then we should be okay. IMS is a lot of protocols described there. For certain solution, we still need TDM interface for SS7 eyes up and M3 UA. Can TMG act as a SBC also and have features same as ProSBC? Okay, so the first SBC we deployed was running on a TMG device. All right, so we used the Atom processor that was running on the TMG devices to run the SBC, and we made it work. Okay. However, there was not a lot of traction doing this. We sold a few, but it was not catching up very well. And that's when we decided to move to the ProSBC, which would then be detached from the TMG devices, the TDM devices. So we don't sell those anymore, okay? So the way to do this today needs to be a separate device. So you have one TMG device, which has your SS7 eyes up TDM connection, and maybe M3 UA and other TDM functions. And your SIP interface then goes to the SBC, which protects from the outside network. Okay, so that's the architecture we propose now. Is that clear, Rudy? Okay. And then, okay, the link for the presentation. Yeah, okay, I can just copy it here. And also the recordings, right? So you should be receiving the recordings from either Alan or Ari in marketing. They will forward the links to you for the recordings. Can filtering feature for the yeah yeah, for sure, Rudy, you can request stuff. This, you know, this filtering feature, you know how it works internally in TechRages is that we talk with customers, and then we decide on our roadmap, and then we ask the development team to develop some features, and then the development team comes to the support team first, and then they say, this is what we did, do you have any comments, right? And I think the first comment we made to the development team is, hey, can we have filtering on on TB router or on TB6 trace? And unfortunately, it's still not done today. So so I know for you specifically, because you're having more than 600 calls per second in the system, it creates large files very quickly, and then it becomes difficult to filter. So definitely we can ask the development team to look into this and see if they can add this to the roadmap. Again, I think it's better if you send the request and support so that it gets processed normally. You can always recommend stuff on the roadmap. I have lists of things that would be very nice to do. And we try to prioritize the one that are in demand by many customers. So the more customers who ask for some features, the more chance it gets into the roadmap. Okay, Branze, any comments? Or William?
No.
Yeah, well, we absolutely want to have everything in one shot, but sometimes it takes time, you know. But thank you. That is a very good advice, and we're gonna take it into put it into our list, and let our marketing and product team to make sure we'll put the priority correctly.
Absolutely. Three, yeah. Hello, yes?
No, I mean, for Rudy, the most important part may probably not be the TB6 trace, but the gateway performance improvement. That will help you even more than the TB6 trace.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? We have to decide what is most important, but
we hear you, Rudy. I remember you have been asking that for a long time, you know. We're working on it. We'll put the TB6 trace on the second row.
No, but
also have this request for the RO, because have a prospect project for that one also. The diameter.
I remember that too. We have been reviewing about the diameter as well, and it also takes some time. We have put it in our list as well.
Okay, great, yeah, thanks.
But be careful, Branze, because we have many team members, and each one have their specialties, and it's not because we're doing performance that we can't do something else, right? It's just that there's a lot of requests, so we still have to prioritize them. Yep. Okay. Very good.
Hello, just question.
Sure.
If for the gateway, is it possible we have like in the JSON, just to create more call for the gateway application? Is it useful?
Say that again. I missed your question.
For the gateway application, now the default is only using one core, right? If we configure or modify it in the JSON file, example, set it as a 4-core CPU, is it help to make a better performance?
No, the only application that is controlled by this is TB router, right? Not the other applications. And this is what we plan to have to modify, right? Be able to have gateway running on multiple cores there.
Because now our server have a 2 CPU with the 12 core, so have a 24. So it's a lot of a spare core for this.
Yes, yes, but keep it there. As soon as we get the multi-thread version available, you'll be up and running quickly, and you will see. I'm sure you will see a good performance improvement.
Hopefully.
So, what is your target, Rudy? Is it 1,000 call per second?
Not as so high. At least now it's about almost reached there now. The current traffic about 970 CPS at this moment.
Correct.
But the issue is with that CPS, we only can process about 6,000 concurrent calls.
Yeah, that's right. So you want to have more sessions. That's what
yes,
is blocking
because
you.
have a one box now we deploy 12K session.
Yes.
So split to a few server now.
Correct. Yeah. We'll help you. We'll help you to reach your goal there.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Anything else? Oh, thank you for being there all the time, Ranzi.
Well, it's important for me too to learn about the technical side, and at the same time knowing what are the actual important stuff that the clients need. So going through the meeting with all the clients together is actually a very valuable experience. And now we know. Well, I was also talking with another customer on the roll that they're looking at the RESTful API. So I was basically moving things from from left screen to the right screen. And so bad they didn't join the meeting, but I'm sure this training will help a lot of users. And well,
Good.
appreciate you, Luke, for delivering the training full days in a row till 2 a.m. It's not
yeah, that's right. That's right. Oh, James has another question. Oh, Teams. I think we're getting this request every week, probably, or maybe even every day, right? So Teams interconnection is something we know is very important, but and we are doing some work right now for a specific customer that will help us to achieve our goals with Teams. We have everything that we need for making Teams work. Oops. Oh, William, I can't mute. Yeah, okay, thank you. We have TLS. We needed to have TLS. We needed to have SRTP. Now we have these. Now we need to have a special DNS resolution. So once we have that with our test that we're doing now, we will be able to do another run of tests with Teams. And I hope it's not going to be so difficult to do the last steps. So I think we're getting very close to having something usable with Teams there. So it's definitely being requested a lot, and it's definitely on our priority list. Excellent. Okay. Well, that's it for today. Thank you very much for joining this meeting. Don't hesitate to ask more questions, sending that out to support or on the forums, so you can, share all those questions with everyone, which is very good for us. And report any problems that you get. We will help you to fix them. That's our role, me and William and the rest of the support team. All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Ranzi. William, thank you for being there as well.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you, Luke.
Bye
Good
bye.
evening.
Thank you, Bronze.
Bye, Pancho. We'll be
Thank
in
you,
touch. We'll be in touch.
Yes. Yep.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye bye.